All right, welcome back to Insurance Tips for Contractors. I'm your host, Dave Bowling. I've been a contractor and tradesman specialist in the insurance space for over 16 years. And today I'm going to talk to you about one of the most dangerous pieces of fine print hiding in almost every general liability policy unless you've specifically asked for it to be removed. And that is the subcontractor exclusion. So if you use subcontractors on your job, and most contractors do, this one clause could be the difference between being protected in the event of a claim and then being completely exposed. So what is the subcontractor exclusion? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? Many general liability policies contain language that exclude coverage for work performed by subcontractors. So this means that if your sub makes a mistake and it results in a claim, your insurance company may refuse to cover it. Oftentimes, they will refuse to cover it. So there's a whole bunch of different scenarios that could result, obviously, drywall, plumbers, electricians, framers, flooring contractors, cabinet contractors, all sorts of different scenarios that could lead to a claim or damage coming from that subcontractor's work after the project is done, or during the project. And then the homeowner or the building owner or the general contractor that has hired you will sue you because you're the contractor that work was assigned to. So if your policy has a subcontractor exclusion, your insurance company will deny the claim entirely. And that means obviously you're left holding the bag for work that you didn't even do. So what do we do about it? Well, there's a couple of different options. Number one, you collect certificates of insurance from your subcontractors. You make sure that their policies are actually covering the work that they are doing, which is why working with a contractor insurance specialist, if you don't have one, we're happy to step in and help. That's so important because, agents that specialize in nothing, they just insure, restaurants and, retail stores and hairdressers and some contractors here and there. That is, where you can have an exposure that maybe your agent is not even aware of. So finding someone that specializes like us, we can definitely help with that. If your agent does, that's great. You want to be making sure that your subcontractors are covered for the work they are doing for you. And there's a few different ways to do that. We have what's called the Certificate of Insurance program for all of our contractors that hire subs. We will retain the certificates of insurance. We will track so that way next year when the subcontractor's policy renews that you need to collect a new one. So you always have one on file. Helps in the event of audits and, obviously helps in the event of claims. So we bring that certificate in. We keep it in your file. We track for when the renewal happens. And then we reach out to you to let you know, hey, you need to go get a new certificate of insurance for Bill's Plumbing or whatever it is their policy is renewing next month. We also check to make sure that the policy that they have covers the work that they are actually doing. So we'll help you with that verification process. The good news is there's a couple of different ways to close this gap if that's something that you want to do. There is an endorsement that you can get that buys back the coverage. Sometimes it buys it back just universally, so your subcontractors don't even need to have insurance. That is expensive, and it can create unnecessary claims on your liability policy, which is what we do not want in most cases. But some people prefer this just to have peace of mind that it's all covered. The other one is it will provide coverage for your subcontractors so long as you do what we just talked about. Collect these certificates of insurance so that way you at least know there is a policy in place. And then if something happens with that policy, the claim's denied, the policy cancels, something like that, then there would be coverage under your policy should that first safety net fall through. There's advantages to both, right? If you get a policy that does not cover subcontracted work, which again, most don't, then, there'll be lower premiums. The flip side to that is there's a big, financial risk if the sub makes a mistake or if their policy lapses. So with the endorsement, your policy will respond if a subcontractor causes a claim, depending on the terms and conditions of that endorsement. If you collected a certificate of insurance, or some cases, it doesn't matter. It makes you more competitive for general contractor work, having that kind of coverage because you can hire essentially uninsured subs if you want to. And then, The downside, obviously, slightly higher premiums, sometimes much higher premiums, depending on the scope of work, what you're doing, who you're hiring. And then there's more paperwork, more responsibility, and you ultimately are going to run the risk of having a subcontractor, file a claim on your policy for work that you didn't even do that wasn't really your fault. So here's some action steps. You can check your general liability policy for subcontractor exclusions. Look for phrases like damage arising out of work performed by subcontractors. So if you use subs, talk to your agent about the endorsement. See if it's available on your policy. Ask how much it costs just as a safety net. And then three, if you're not already doing it, start a system for collecting certificates of insurance. Like I said, we handle this for our contractors that hire subs. It's a free service that we do just for everybody. It makes sense to do it, especially since we're contractor insurance specialists. At the end of the day, the subcontractors can help your business scale, but they also obviously bring risk. The subcontractor exclusion is one of those policy details that can turn into a financial nightmare if you don't know how to handle it ahead of time. So take some time, review your policy, ask about the endorsement, get with your agent, start setting up a system for collecting certificates of insurance. And if you want help reviewing your subcontractor coverage, give me a call, toll free 866-998-7283. I'd be happy to walk you through and help with whatever I can. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.